What wild animal is commonly thought to not be dangerous, but you need to stay the hell away from because they are dangerous? Monkeys. They go for the eyes. Yet I see posts on social media with people feeding them and whatnot. I honestly didn't think this many people felt the same way about monkeys. Seriously, I just remembered that 911 story and read a lot of horror stories about them. I don't trust wild animals in general, but I always see people messing with monkeys. Thanks all for the awards and stories. Be safe. Just learned this today actually, but larger species of otter can kill a full-grown human. Even the smaller ones can mess you up. Keep that in mind if you see any wild otters. Thanks to Broadway 73, I was able to remember that male otters are some of the most sexually aggressive mammals on Earth. Also something that I learned recently but initially forgot to include.
Hey guys, much like you, I love reading people's stories on Ask Reddit. Unfortunately, there's a lot of weird middle school level, just thought experiment type hypotheticals like nice try Baskin Robbins. I don't find this compelling, so that's why I've made it my mission to trawl and crawl through Ask Reddit and find the very best content and put it in your ears. That's why I'm begging you, like and subscribe. If there's anything I can do to help you out, give you the kind of content that you crave to help you get through your workday, let me know in a comment. But please like and subscribe.
Deer and elk. Bucks and bulls in rut are dangerous as they will ram into you with sharp antlers if they see you close to a female. Does and cows can trample humans if you are too close to their babes. They are beautiful animals and there is nothing wrong with observing them. But it's best to do it from afar. I didn't expect my comment about deers and elk to blow up this much. Thanks Reddit for the stories and awards. Oh. Story time. My dad used to have one of those flat-bottom freshwater fishing boats. Once, he and I went fishing when I was about 10 or so. I caught a catfish. He insisted on taking it off the hook. It barbed him and sliced his thumb open bad enough that he needed stitches. So we go back to where we launched the boat, he loads it on the trailer, we start the hour-long drive home. Except he popped a tire on a piece of rebar on the way out, so he parked it to change the tire. Parked the flat tire exactly in a big old fire ant nest. Changed the tire, drive me home, got my mom and went to the ER for stitches, all covered in fire ant bites. Never doubted my dad's toughness again. Chimpanzees. They're often in movies, wearing clothes, being cute, but the reality is they're incredibly strong and will literally rip a person to shreds. I think that attack by Travis the chimp in New England a while ago sheds some light on how powerful and dangerous they can be, but that wasn't an isolated incident. There are plenty of chimp attacks. A herbivore species that survived for ages between lions and leopards does know some ninja skills. Fun fact, in the 19th century in South Africa farmers used to put zebras in their herds of horses, as the zebras will attack predators and defend the herd. Caterpillars. I'm from Scotland where pretty much nothing in nature can kill you. Visited New Orleans, a buckmouth caterpillar fell out of an oak tree and landed on my arm. Holy shit, I felt like my arm was literally on fire. It swelled up, went really hard to the touch, and was burning. My friend's mom had to use tape to get all the barbs out of my skin. Ever since then, my skin has been horrendously sensitive. I now have medication for rosacea, because my stupid immune system is terrified of flipping caterpillars and will freak out at almost anything. My hamster bit me twice when my fingers smelled a little too much like his yogurt treats and that hurt like a bitch. I'm not about to fuck with the giant version of that tiny little rodent. Edit. Oh, thanks for the wholesome award. First award I've ever gotten, smile and more. TT, thank you. My rule of thumb, if it's wild, do not engage with it, period. If it's domestic, wait for it to approach you with a relaxed attitude. Most animals are capable of fucking you up pretty badly, best not to walk into that kind of scenario and keep your distance. I got chased by a seal once, was not a good time. I used to live on a small island. In the harbor there is a sand bank that is bare during low tide. We used to swim over and get hammered during the summertime. One day I was swimming over to drop off a crate of beer. As I crest the bank, this mean-looking seal, just as they're staring at me, starts flopping towards me. I panic and jump in the water to swim back. Seal gives chase and, luckily for me, only rammed me a few times. I was sure I was going to die. Needless to say, we stopped getting hammered on the banks after that day. Many people seem to be concerned about the welfare of the beers. We used a dinghy to retrieve them and they helped to propel the rest of the day. I appreciate all the concern. Thanks for the awards.
Did you know that when you drink tea from a tea bag, especially a cheap tea bag, you are exposing yourself to microplastics? greater in quantity than from any other source. Microplastics are the number one health risk of our generation, and they will have unknown consequences on future generations. So, if you value your health, destroy your tea bags. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy great tea. I'm going to post affiliate links for my own homebrew loose leaf tea concoction that I drink every single day. It has no microplastics, and it honestly tastes better than tea from a tea bag ever did. So be sure to click the links below and get on the loose leaf tea train to avoid poisoning yourself and your children.
There's a raven that hangs around my place. Once, it was on the roof, so I threw a peanut up there. The raven picked it up, looked around, and put it back down. Ever since, the raven places rocks on my roof. I don't eat rocks. Maybe it's sending a message. I haven't pet the raven. We prefer to social distance. But I think we're buds. Or maybe enemies. I don't know. Australian here. Kangaroos. Never approach a kangaroo on land. They will beat the shit out of you. Also, never approach a kangaroo in water. They will fucking drown you, and they are very fucking good at it too. Also, be careful not to hit a kangaroo with your car. They always have the last laugh when it comes to fighting 2-ton machines. I got chased by 2 Hawaiian monk seals as a kid while snorkeling underwater, unawares, and only didn't die because a stranger yanked me out of the water. Everyone else had evacuated the water, but I had my head underwater, so I didn't hear everyone screaming. Luckily, this lady spotted my snorkel and grabbed me. As I was being pulled out and yelling stranger danger, I turn and see 2 big seal mouths open and coming for me. It was wild. You're friends. This is common behavior in ravens. They have outstanding memory and never forget a face and rarely a location. It saw the peanut as a gift, and it wanted to bring you something it considers nice. They collect rocks and small metal trinkets like bottle caps. Keep giving it small amounts of food once a week and it'll stick around and might even help you in the future. They're amazing birds. Just don't overfeed it or it will become dependent on you and might not do well on its own. All the mustelids, badgers, otters, wolverines, fishers, weasels, etc. will fuck up anything that gets in front of them. They shouldn't be underestimated. Wolverines have been documented winning fights with black bears several times their size. The famous honey badger video speaks for itself. If you see a mustelid in the wild and go near it, you're gonna have a bad time. I went to a monkey temple in Bali and you could buy food for them and feed them by hand. Fuck that, those little monsters were going utterly mental as soon as someone ran out of food. They must be crazy to feed random monkeys like that. People were getting scratched and all sorts. GT, wolverines have been documented winning fights with black bears several times their size. Wolverines are nightmarish hellbeasts of omnidirectional hate. It is actually impossible to overstate how scary they are. Somewhere along their evolutionary pathway, their fight or flight instinct got permanently stuck on fight, and now every single one of them is a Gandhi-level apocalypse engine of the frozen wastes. A zoo once thought they could put a wolverine on exhibit with a polar bear, figuring that the wolverine was tough enough that the polar bear wouldn't bother it. They were right, of course, the polar bear left it alone. But that wasn't enough for this dog-sized packet of aggression. It decided that it shouldn't need to share its enclosure. So it killed the bear. By suffocating it. The wolverine clamped down on its throat and just hung on until it died. These things are the apex predators of the entire planet, and we are lucky they typically confine themselves to the tundra. It has been pointed out to me that the polar bear story is probably an urban legend, although there do seem to be a few possibly credible accounts of wolverines doing this in the wild. It's also worth pointing out that wolverines generally confine their terrifying aggression to creatures they see as either prey or competitors. They don't bother humans, although I suppose I wouldn't loom possessively over an elk carcass in front of one. Wolverines understand that with great brass balls comes great responsibility. I hope to God they never find out we're responsible for global warming. Coming next summer, Extinction Event. When Todd, an ordinary, hardworking wolverine, discovers a terrifying human plot to gentrify the Arctic Circle, he must single-handedly dismantle civilization with nothing but his gigantic teeth and insane berserker rage. I always thought they'd just cower if they were cornered, but not so. My mom's cats lured one into the bathtub to torture it and it eventually got away and hid in the track for the shower door. I went to get it out of there and it started making awful noises and showing its teeth at me. I got it by its tail and had a glove so it couldn't bite me, but it definitely was not happy. I brought my nephew here years ago and remember them telling us how dangerous otters are. No one ever believes me. They have to feed them with special training sticks so they don't get their fingers savaged clean off their hands. It's how Terry Nutkins lost 2 fingers. Years ago we were at the Grand Canyon during rutting season and were in the car going back to the hotel in Tucson. It was just after dark. Suddenly a car leaving a parking lot ahead of us, they'd be merging onto the road we were on, stopped, so we stopped, concerned. The driver got out and ran right up to the elk that was in that car's headlights and took photos. We were stunned. It was clearly a male elk, and my father said, "I'm rooting for the elk." Luckily nothing happened, but man, what an idiot.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal, they don't really work, they don't keep the water out, but there is an amazing kind of earplug called Mack's Pillow Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great, they keep the water out 100%, they're reusable, and they don't irritate your ear canal at all, no issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Mack's earplugs today.
My family went to a monkey forest when we were in Bali. One of those fuckers got in a tug-o-war with my baby sister for her fan. Another had her period on my uncle. He got cleaned up real quick and got a shot just afterwards. No worries. A shot isn't a vaccine. A friend works with chimps, was attacked and mutilated. He lost several fingers and a testicle, still working with chimps. Hess got a lot more heart than I do. Second, someone has pointed out that he is no longer working with chimps. The last time I spoke with him he was still advocating for the preservation and study of chimps. I was swimming alone late night on a lake in New Hampshire when suddenly I looked to my right. I saw a beaver swimming right towards me. Apparently the beaver spotted me at the same time as we both panicked and scrambled in another direction. I went to shore, had a beer, then went back in. As I approached the raft I heard a loud slap. The beaver slapping its tail on the water to let me know I was at its territory. I was done swimming for the remainder of the night. Just remember, even Steve Irwin admitted, on camera, that hippos scare the shit out of him because of how dangerous they are when they're pissed. The same fucking guy that would poke an obviously pissed off venomous snake with a stick, or stick parts of his body into the mouth of a croc. And he admitted to being legitimately fucking terrified of hippos. Still, I love that video of the guy connecting with a right cross to the snout to free his dog. Lucky bastard. The thing was so surprised he didn't do anything. Thanks for the updates and award. Must be hard for these Aussies to walk around with their gigantic balls.
Do you have any idea how convenient it is to use a Keurig machine for brewing coffee or tea? Personally, I gave up coffee a long time ago, but I was able to get a great, delicious cup of coffee in just seconds with no cleanup, no extra work, using a Keurig machine and a K-cup. And now I use my Keurig machine to brew tea, loose leaf tea, every day that I drink. And I also use it to make oatmeal and, anything else that you can put hot water into. So if you don't have a Keurig machine in your house, you're missing out. Try my affiliate link below in the description of the video, and you too can enjoy a great cup of coffee in seconds any time of day.